Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. So today we are not playing on our cooperative survival world, on our frostbite world, or on our lost colony world. We're playing a new world. This is not a new series per se. It is a new series, but what it is a tutorial series on how to get the basics of Space Engineers going, how to start the game, and how to get yourself into space. That is where we are beginning. So we're going to start with a new game. And we're going to go down to Star System. Give your world a name, whatever you want to call it. I am calling it Tutorial World for now. We're starting in Survival. Now, there are only two mods I'm going to add to this. It is a completely vanilla world, except for these two mods, because these mods are going to, or one mod I believe, I don't think it actually needs another mod, is Quieter Tools. And now let me just make sure, really quickly, that this does not need another mod to run. No, it does not. So there's only one mod in the world, which is Quieter Tools. That way, whenever we're using our tools, which will be a lot, they're not going to be extremely loud. Now we're going to go into the Advanced tab, which edits your world settings. You can choose your inventory size, whether it's realistic, times 3, 5, 10. I'm going to leave it on times 3. I'm going to leave most of these on their normal settings. We're going to change the view distance down just to help with our performance today, so that we're not worried. So that if you are on a lower end computer, you're not worried about performance drops. We're going to drop the day duration down to about 30 minutes. Max objects in the world, because we're going to be mining a lot, we're going to want to bring up. That's how many floating objects are in the world, so scrap metal, ores, stone, stuff like that. Block limits are how many blocks you're allowed to place in the world, which would be about, well, 50,000 for a ship, and then per player. I usually turn that off, but again, if you are running a lower end computer, I recommend leaving that on. Max backup saves, so the game will save auto save every 5 minutes, so it'll save 5 backups. Now, for the purposes of this tutorial series, we are going to enable spectator. We're going to enable spiders. Well, we don't need spiders because we're not going to the alien planet, but we will enable wolves. We will keep progression turned on, and we will leave the economy on. Because they are now part of the main Space Engineers game, we want to leave them as part of the tutorial series here. So we're going to go ahead and click Start. Now, it normally won't go downloading mods because if you're playing a completely vanilla world, you're not worried about mods. But because we have just one mod installed, it had to download it really quick. Now that it's downloaded, it's going to load the game. And when we get into the game, I will see you there. Okay, and now that we have arrived at the spawn menu, you want to choose where you want to drop, whether you're dropping on the moon, on the alien planet, on Titan, Mars, Europa, Triton, whether you're just in a space pod or just in your space suit. I do not recommend the spacesuit because you won't be able to do anything. You won't have survival kit to refine materials. You won't be able to build anything. The space pod is good if you just want to start on space, but we're starting out on Earth today. So we're going to go ahead and click respawn. It's going to stream for a minute and then it will drop us in. I will see you then. Alright, and we are now heading on down to the planet. Once we reach the ground, we can begin our excursion into conquering this world. And parachute deployed. And we have landed. Now, as you see, the landing gear automatically locked down once we hit the ground. That is because the landing gear are set to automatically lock. We will want to turn this off for later. So let us go into the menu. To get to the menu, you press K or whatever associated button you have with getting into the menu. We hit this button, or first off, here is one landing gear. This is landing gear 4, but as you see, we do have 4 landing gear, but this will only deal with one of them. You want to hit this button to show all the hidden blocks on this grid, and you can see landing gear 1, 2, 3, and 4. You want to select all of them and uncheck auto lock. That way they will not automatically lock on you when you move. So, to begin, here we are. This is our drop pod, this is our space engineer. Now what do we do? Well, we have progression turned on, as you remember. What progression does is it locks blocks from us being able to build. Currently, everything you see here is what we can build. It's not much. Here's the progression tree. If we build a basic assembler, it will allow us to build interior turrets, or spotlights, or a medical room, or a dispenser, or a light, a corner light double. And if we build this interior light, we can build projectors and console blocks and LCDs and sensors, sound blocks to make jukeboxes, or a regular assembler to make these, to make turrets, to... You see where I'm going. So, the nice thing about the drop pod here is it has plenty of blocks in it for us to actually gain progression, like the landing gear. And look at that, we technically built the landing gear. We can also do the O2H2 generator, or the light right here, or the beacon, the timer block, the cargo container, the small conveyors. As you can see, this drop pod actually has a lot of progression items in it that can help us out. Now inside the seat here, you go into the inventory screen. You can see we have a rifle, we have some ammo, and a GPS station. This is called a data pad. Go ahead and read it. You'll see that there's a, some text, but then there's this. Go ahead and create GPS marker, or click create GPS marker, and there it is. Now that station is 12 kilometers that way. That doesn't help us now. We can't really get there. But now we know there's a station out there. That station is part of the economy DLC. What it does is allows us to have a place to go to sell and trade items and buy items. So, how do we really start Space Engineers? Well, now that we're on the ground, we need to drill. We have a survival kit here. Survival kits process stone and turn it into gold, gravel, iron, nickel, and silicon. So let's go ahead and start by drilling a hole down. Unfortunately, we did not land in a very nice area that can give us ores at the moment. As you can see by me zooming out, the ground looks all nice and flush with itself, except right there. See how the ground has gray patches? That is how you know, at least in this biome, that there is ores. In other biomes, it might come up as dark gray patches, and others might come up as black patches. If you see the patches, you know that there's ore. We know there's ore over there, so we will go there when we have our stuff set up. But for right now, stone is what we need, so stone is what we're going to grab. Now normally the tools are not this quiet, they're usually a lot louder, but again, we added the sneaky quiet tools mod, which allows us to not have loud tools. And the reason why we don't want loud tools is so that you can hear me talk and explain what's going on while we do this tutorial series. Because if you can't hear me while I'm grinding or welding or drilling especially, then it's going to make it a lot harder for all of us. So here's what we do. You go into here, drop your stone off, but it's not doing anything. Go into the production tab, ingots. I clicked it, it made that. But that's not enough, we're going to need a lot. So go ahead and control click and you'll make 10 of them. It uses up 100 stone per, but that's still not going to be enough. So I'm going to shift click. That's going to make 100. But if I control shift and click, that'll make 1,000. So now we need 109,700 stone to process all of that. Now we're not going to process all of it in the survival kit, but for right now that is what we will be doing. So we're going to continue drilling, and I'll bring you back once we are ready for the next step. So as we are finishing up with the... Ah, that is a dog. Remember, we enabled wolves. That dog just bit me. That dog wants to bite me. Well, as I was going to say, just as we're finishing up with our stone production, we are now producing 30 steel plates and 10 interior plates, which is going to cost us only 150 iron. Now, two things I want to show you. First off, we're making steel plates and interior plates. Second thing, we're going to want to, hang on, we're missing one thing. In the O2H2 generator here, there's a hydrogen bottle. That powers your jetpack. That gives you extra fuel. We're going to want that. Now, a good tip when flying, get yourself going to speed and turn your dampeners off and just hold down space whenever you need it. And you'll save the most amount of jetpack fuel you can. Now, we actually came up to two special things over here. First off, this is an unknown signal. They're little supply drops that drop down every so often, and you can get a special cosmetic item. So you can change the appearance of how your my grinder looks, in this case a leopard grinder, and they also, you can grind them down, but the better part about them is they come with cargo containers. These cargo containers will have power kits or space credits, which I'll get into that in a moment, or various other materials like construction components or motors, displays, anything. They can have any item in the base game inside them. So we're going to go ahead and grind this down. And once it's ground down, we're going to take a look at this boulder right here, because this boulder is something special. Now, one other thing I want to mention about that unknown signal, or just about batteries in general, because that unknown signal had a battery, and this is a good thing to know about batteries. Batteries have power cells, but when you grind them down, they turn into scrap metal. You do not get your power cells back from batteries if you grind them down. Now, this boulder is made out of iron. That's good. That means we have a source of iron readily available to us just right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the GPS menu right here, click New from Current Position, which means from where I'm standing, it's going to make a GPS. Now we're going to just call this Iron Boulder. Now another way you can make a GPS is if you go into your chat menu and type /GPS, and whatever you type after that, it will make a GPS of. We're not going to do that today, but we'll do that later. Now let's fly back to the respawn pod and deal with those steel plates that we just made up. Alright, so now that we've returned, we can take the steel plates and interior plates plus the other materials we picked up, and we're going to begin making our starter platform. Now, I already have the 4 things that we're going to need for this platform in my hotbar. We have light armor blocks, a wind turbine, a basic refinery, and a basic assembler. So let's start by making a little 2x3 platform. And on the corner of this platform, we're going to go up into the sky. Now if you don't want to use your jetpack because you don't think you're going to be able to find ice anytime soon, kind of like I am right now, there's really nowhere to get ice. Except that mountain over there, but that's pretty far away. Other than that, there's so far nowhere to get any ice. So if you don't want to have to use your jetpack, here's what you can do. You can make a ramp like this. So I'm going to start there. And then if I want to go up to the next level, what I need to do is come down here and place a block there. So I can go here and turn it there. And then, oop, that's the wrong block. Oh no, I fell. And then you put one there and there. So you can just go up and up and up. Now, this is as far as I'm going to put it for now, but that is the basic way to make a ramp up a tower. Now, for wind towers, you don't really want these because those can block the wind turbines, but for right now, that is fine. So we're going to place down the wind turbine. But it doesn't place the full block, as you see. It places a shell of the block. Now down here on the platform, we're going to want to place our assembler first, because the assembler only has one access port. That yellow port you see right there, that is the access port. It has no other ports around it. So we want to make sure we place it where it can have access. Now the basic refinery has a port right there and right there on two sides. So we can place it either way. We'll place it right there. Now, we don't have the parts to build these yet, do we? Doesn't look like it. So the first thing I want to build is the basic assembler, which needs steel plates, computers, displays, motors, construction components, and more steel plates. Now, we did pick some up from that unknown signal, so what we can do is put them inside. Now we need less parts. Now we can put the rest into this. Oh, that's not much. We can go put it into the wind turbine here. That's not much either. Now, what we can do from here is what we need to do is build the rest using our survival kit. Well, how do I know what I need to build? I don't want to have to memorize what's on this list. Well, luckily, there's what's called a build planner in your blocks menu. There's two ways to use the build planner. You can click to add selected block variant, or drag and drop the block here. Middle mouse on a block to quickly add it to the build planner. So what that means is if I go here to the solar panel, next to it is the wind turbine. I can middle click, and there it is. Every single part I would need for that wind turbine is right here. But we've already used some parts in it. We don't need all those parts. So how do I get just the parts I need? Well, if I right click, it adds only the parts I need to the build planner. So we're going to do that with the assembler and the refinery. So right click, right click. Now I come over here to the survival kit, which will build me the parts. Now, there's two ways to do what I'm about to do. You can do this, which one is it? Add components from build planner to production queue, or add a selected component to production queue. We can do this, which will add everything we need to the production queue here, and it will start building them. Or, if you don't want to have to go into the menu, you can press Shift and middle mouse click, and it's going to put everything you need into production. As you see, we need 500 more iron, we have enough nickel, and we have enough silicon. So we're going to dig some more stone, get some more iron, and let this go, and we will be right back. So, two things to note. There's one thing I did not explain about the wind turbines, and second, I'm low on energy. Now, there's three ways to gain energy in Space Engineers. Power kits. If I consume one, my energy is going up from 21 to 44, 46. It goes up from 21 to 46. That's 25 power. You can alternatively use the survival kit, which will heal you, give you hydrogen if you have hydrogen tanks or oxygen generators, or alternatively to gain energy you can just sit in a seat. So now we've refilled our energy. Now the second thing I forgot to mention about wind turbines. Wind turbines have, well, obviously they need wind. Well, the higher up you are, the more wind you're going to get. The lower I am to the ground, the less wind. The other thing is, if I had blocks around this, so if I had a block here, one out, and one up, they would be blocking the wind turbine and it wouldn't be generating as much power. So you want to make sure not to be blocking the wind turbine. Now, I'm going to go ahead and continue gathering stone, and I'll see you when we're ready. So we weren't able to finish production, but we do have quite a lot of materials. Unfortunately, our inventory is full, so we can't process stone, so I had to drop a load of stone right here. So what we're going to do is, as you see, we have stuff in our build planner. Well, how do I know that I've grabbed these materials and have actually been able to have everything I need? Well, you come up to any cargo port like this, and when it is highlighted yellow, click your middle mouse button. It will withdraw as much material as it can into your inventory. So now we're going to go back up to the wind turbine and place everything inside of it. And as you see, well, it still thinks we haven't grabbed everything for the wind turbine, but for the purposes of this, we have. Because it will still be making the materials for the other two, it thinks we grabbed them already, so we're going to just pretend that we have. So, coming back down here, as you saw, it said we can build new blocks. Well, what did we get by building a wind turbine? Well, by building a wind turbine, we unlocked... down here at the very bottom. We unlocked control panels, pistons, rotors, merge blocks, beacon. The beacon is going to be the important one, and doors. The reason why the beacon is the important one is because up here, by building a beacon, we unlock the antennas, and we already have a beacon. So all we have to do is grind it down and rebuild it. Now let's come over here to the assembler, put stuff in it, and put stuff in the refinery. Now we can pull the rest of the materials out. And are we missing 2 motors? Oh, we're missing a few. So now we have the assembler, and we're just missing 8 motors and 13 construction components. I'm sorry. So now we're going to get the assembler built. And with having the assembler built, what we can do now is take all the ingots that get built from the survival kit, put them in here, and have it build the rest of the refinery. So we're going to tell it to stop making these, because it's making too many now. Go into our build planner here, and tell it that. And shift click to put into production. And now we're going to take everything we have here, which is the nickel and silicon, and we're going to put it into there. Take this stone and put it back in. Come back here, little boulder. And now it's going to make more. Now we do have extra parts. That's fine. We can break them down later. This gravel we do not need. Gravel is only useful for reactor components, which we are very far away from getting, and for data pads, which we are not going to be making in this series. So now we can take this iron, nickel, and silicon, place it inside. Now it's going to go ahead and start making things. Do we have enough? No, we need just a little bit more iron, but I think we'll have enough from here. Back over to here. Ooh. And we're missing just the tiniest bit of iron. So let's go grab just a little more stone from down here. That's not going to be enough. We need at least 100 stone, remember, because every ingot we get, actually we're going to need probably about 300 stone, because we need about 6, so we need 200 to get 6 iron, but we want to make sure we have just a little bit left. So that's a couple thousand stone actually into the inventory. Now we come over here, drop it in here. It's going to make the iron. Perfect. And come back over here, drop it in. And there's our motors and construction components. Pull them out and put it into your refinery. And just as the sun is going down, or I believe it's going down, I don't think it's coming up. Or it is, it's coming up. Just as the sun is rising, we have completed our refinery, our assembler, and our wind turbine, which means we now have the basic base that you can start with in Space Engineers. Now, we no longer need the survival kit. Well, we do need the survival kit, but we don't need it for the purposes of refining stone. Now, one thing to note is that the survival kit actually, per 100 stone, produces more materials than the basic refinery does. But we still need the refinery for efficiency, for speed. If we want to produce more stuff faster, we need the refinery. But if you want to produce more stuff, you need the survival kit. But that is going to be the end of the episode today. Thank you guys very much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hope you are going to be enjoying this series here. I will see you guys in the next time. Leave a like down below if you liked the video, a dislike if you didn't, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time.